Hello, friend. On today's coffee chat with Angie, we are talking about something that is often unspoken but deeply felt, and that is the invisible loads moms carry. Now, if I'm being honest, this can pertain to anyone. I'm just speaking geared towards moms today. However, whether you are a teenager, whether you are a male, whether you have children or don't, we all are carrying something invisible that is weighing us down. My name is Angie. I am a personal strategy coach. I help driven working moms create rock solid systems at home so dinner isn't a last minute scramble, kids' logistics are not chaos, and your self-care isn't an afterthought. Instead of guilt and exhaustion, you can finally feel present, energized, and in control of the life you are building while also having time for yourself. I would love to know if you are watching today. So if you are joining live, say hi in the comments. If you're catching the replay, I would love to know that you are here as well. Say hi. And I would love to know where you're from. So just put city or state, whatever you're comfortable with. I would love to know where everyone is joining in from. I am from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I am just super excited that you are joining. Today, instead of coffee or tea, I am having water with extra immune support tablets in it because the sickness is going through our house and I do not want to be part of that whole mess. So I hope that your family is healthy, and this aligns perfectly with the invisible loads that us as moms carry. Like when kids get sick, there's even more things that are added to our plate, right? So first of all, what is an invisible load? What am I even talking about? And it's the mental and emotional tasks that we juggle that perhaps aren't even things that can be put on a to-do list. It's all of the things that are in our brains that are not necessarily on paper, but for sure take up space in our minds, just like something that you would have to go and do, like grocery shopping would take up time. This is definitely taking up space in your head. Now, what are some examples of this? So remembering everyone's birthdays, keeping track of picture day or the last day of school or the days that they have off or half days. Maybe keeping track of when sports practices are, or if you are the family that needs to bring snacks for that practice. Keeping track of meals, like what are you having for dinner? That was a big one for me and my friend. Oh my goodness. Or maybe keeping track of when shoes are running too small or ketchup is running low and making sure to add that to the grocery list. Thinking ahead for teacher gifts, or even your own child's birthday party. Like sometimes a couple months in advance, you need to reserve some things and it sneaks up on you every single year. So keeping track of all of those things and being the default person for texts, permission slips, RSVPs, all of the things, those are invisible things that we carry around with us. They don't necessarily get to paper, but we constantly have them swirling in our heads all day long. Now, mental fatigue is different than stress, and this is according to some health publications. Stress does not result in a feeling of tiredness like mental fatigue does, and mental fatigue is one of the root causes of decreased productivity and overall cognitive performance. Let me say that again. Mental fatigue is one of the root causes of decreased productivity and overall cognitive performance. Oh my goodness. So that means that with all of these things swirling in our heads and not being put on paper and just always in our brains, it is decreasing our productiveness throughout the day, whether that's at work, whether that's at home. whatever it is. So there comes a time where we have things that are on our plate, things that we're trying to remember that allows us to be productive like we would any other day. But then we get to that tipping point where we are carrying too much and we are actually less productive. So carrying less makes us more productive. That's something to think about, right? And consider in your life. So I remember in the past, I would get to a certain point that I was just done. That's how I would describe it. I'm just done. Like there's nothing else I can do. Like the things that I was like, they have to get done today. They didn't get done because I was done. And that is, for me, looking back, where I was carrying all these invisible loads and trying to remember all of the things and do all of the things. And it was just too much. And, in reality, when you look at each individual thing, it's not one thing that's the breaking point. It's all of them at the same time. Because in reality, you look at all those things and you're like, those are all, I'm totally capable of doing all of those things, right? And some of them take 5 minutes. So you're like, what in the world is going on? But in reality, can you do all of them? Absolutely. Should you be doing all of them at the exact same time? No, that's not feasible. And that's what we have to remember. So what do we do? What do we do to have these invisible loads not weigh down at us so we can be productive the way that we want to be and actually have more time, right? So first of all, look at those things that you are carrying in your brain and what can just be released. What do you not need to think about that is weighing you down? Maybe it's things that you feel they have to be done. Double check that with yourself. Do they really have to be done? Like the library card expires tomorrow, so you're like, I have to renew it today. Do you really? Can you just do it the next time you need a book? So some things I think we carry around that have to get done, that are on our quote unquote to-do list in our brain that really don't need to be done, and we can just release it and you're just gonna feel 1,000 times lighter just doing that. Second, is there something that you can ask for support with? Maybe you know that you have to go to the grocery store after work. And so all day you're like, okay, I got to go to the grocery store. Got to remember to go to the grocery store. Got to go to the grocery store. Because you know, if you don't keep telling yourself over and over again, you're going to forget. And just having to remember that over and over again is stressing you out. So could you text your husband and be like, hey, can you grab these things after work today? That may or may not be feasible for him. But you know what? If it is, that's one thing that takes up physical time, but also another thing that you can just release from your brain. It's not taking up any more space and you can focus on something else. And then the third thing is perhaps you need some strategies. And my friend, that is my strength. And of course, that would have to be one of the things, right? But in reality, if you are going through your day and at the end of the day, you are like, oh my gosh, there's these 5 things that I needed to do and they truly have to be done till tomorrow. It is not one of those things that you can just cross off your list and just not do it. It truly has to be done before tomorrow. Maybe it's kids' lunches. They typically take hot lunch, but they're going on a field trip tomorrow and you need to pack a lunch and you totally forgot about that. You thought about it during the day when you were at work, but obviously you couldn't pack it at work. And then you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh shoot, I was on my way to bed and then I remembered this. So what can you do in those circumstances when you always have these things popping up at the end of the day? Write them on some kind of list during the day. 1, that's going to release it from your brain. And 2, the only thing that you're going to have to remember is to look at that list. Now, sometimes that will be challenging to start with, but not remembering those things and just remembering to look at a list is going to be so freeing for yourself and for your brain. And then when you have little snapshots of time throughout the day, you're not sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, what could I do? Like, I know that there's things that need to get done and I can't remember what they are. You will actually be able to look at that list and do them. Now, how do you keep track of it? That, my friend, is where your personality comes in and what works for you. So it may be you have a sticky note that you carry with you all day. It gets stuck on your desk at work. It gets brought home with you in your purse. It gets, put on the counter when you're at home. Maybe that's your way to keep track of things and you cross them off as they get done. Maybe it's the notes app in your phone. Your phone is always with you and you just dive in there and type really quick when something pops in your brain so you can get it down so you remember it and you can refer back to it later. Maybe it's a planner and you have a planner that you refer to during the day and it's just a side note that you put in your planner. Whatever works for you, take that and run with it. But just get those things somehow out of your brain and onto paper so you remember. If you notice that your kids' shoes are running small, put it on a list. Maybe it's maybe you have a master list on the refrigerator of things that you need to run and do that really anybody can do, but it just needs to get done. Maybe there's a list that you're making at home somewhere. So figure out a strategy that works for you about that. And then if there's anything else that you think about throughout the day, maybe you're thinking, as was my case in the past, what is going to be for dinner? And at lunch, you're like, what is for dinner? And you're trying to remember what is in your fridge from your desk at work. And you're thinking, I think we have peppers, but I'm not sure. Should I run to the store afterwards to grab a pepper? And inadvertently, if you had it at home, you went to the store and you got it. So now you have a whole bunch of something you don't need. Or if you didn't go because you thought you had it, then you didn't have it and you have to go. So figure out a meal planning system or a meal prepping system or something to alleviate that thought having to reoccur every single day. So if you have something else that is constantly popping up every single day, make sure to go ahead and create some kind of a strategy for that. And mentioning that, on Saturday, we have our Chaos to Calm. It's the first Saturday of every month. So depending when you're watching this, it may be past when we are holding it. But if that is something that you are interested in coming to, definitely reach out and let me know. I walk you through a couple of questions and you just answer to yourself privately on a piece of paper, and you will walk away with a system in place to get you from point A to point B and put something in place to alleviate some stress throughout your day, like a meal planning strategy. Anything else that's popping up all the time that you are thinking about that's constantly weighing on you, this Chaos to Calm event will really, really support you. So, my friend, I want to let you know that you're being tired, you're feeling tired, your brain feeling heavy is valid. And it's not that you are not enough, because you absolutely 100% are enough just the way you are. It's just that you have too much that you're carrying that's invisible, that is not being seen. I would love to hear from you. What is one thing you have been carrying around that is invisible that you can name? If you feel comfortable putting it in the comments, please do. That allows a couple of things to happen. First of all, there's going to be other people that are like, oh, me too. And you won't feel as alone. And if you are one of those people that's reading the comments and are like, me too, can you reply that to that comment so the person that posted it can also know that she is not alone? And then the other thing it does is some people inadvertently are going to comment on things that you never thought of in your life. And they're going to say something and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, that is me too. And it will bring it out into the forefront so it can be addressed. Friend, when we work together as a group and we support each other, there's so many amazing things that can happen. So if you feel comfortable, put that one thing you've been carrying invisibly around with you that you are just gonna figure out a different way. And if you don't feel comfortable with that, send me a private message. I'd still love to hear. All right, I will see you next time.